As the sun gradually set below the horizon, I was in the kitchen, preparing dinner, chopping vegetables and mixing sauces. Sebastian entered, his presence more intense than the spices that filled the air. He had been away for some time, and the time apart brought a strange sense of comfort, a bittersweet relief. He wasn't the little boy I used to know anymore. He had returned from university, carrying with him a new maturity and adult energy that wrapped itself around both of us, unspoken but undeniable. He was no longer the child he tucked into bed at night, but a young man, strong and grounded, standing guardedly. When I turned to look at him, there was something in the quiet look in his eyes that made me pause. That there was a depth to them, something I couldn't quite understand. He sat quietly watching me, his gaze no longer the same, yes, the one he used to give me over breakfast, filled with curiosity as Head trailed behind me, asking, "What's that?" No, that innocent wonder was gone, replaced by something I couldn't name. Limited small talk over dinner, just to not to keep the mood light, but each time Head glanced at me, I felt as though his eyes were seeing straight through to my thoughts, sensing a strange barrier between us. That barrier held something neither of us could voice. After dinner, he suggested we watch an old movie we used to love when he was younger. I agreed, and as we sat close in the dim light, I couldn't help but notice not how much he had changed, how much he had grown. Deep down, I felt torn between mother and me and something else I wasn't willing to admit. At one point, his shin brushed against mine as he placed it on the edge of the couch. It was a simple touch, innocent enough, but something inside me stirred, and I couldn't explain why. I pulled my hand away, feeling the tremor in my fingers, quickly looking away, ashamed of what that small moment had caused me to feel. Should it feel this way? I couldn't feel this way. My thoughts seemed to drag me down. I made an excuse about being tired and headed to bed, hoping a night's sleep would help clear my mind. The next morning, I tried to shake off the strange, unsettled feeling, distracting myself by making coffee. Sebastian entered the room, his gaze fixed on me, the same intense look from the night before. Like he could see too much. When he asked if I wanted to go for a walk, I hesitated, but trying to ignore the growing tension between me still working. Perhaps the familiar Rishif, our old walking route, would help us find some normally again. As we walked through the trees, memories flooded. Women's stories I used to tell him, the picnics we had, the carefree laughter from when he was younger. But those memories only made that present more obvious. Things had changed. We turned toward the house as the sun began to set. The walk, you'd say, for the rustling leaves and the gentle breeze. By the time we got home, darkness had fallen, and we entered the house in silence, almost as if we had hit an invisible. I went to turn on the stove, the sound breaking the stillness, while Sebastian lingered near the door, his serious expression even more pronounced. When I felt his gaze on me, I turned to face him, desperate to say something to break the silence, but the words wouldn't come. Sebastian took a step toward me, his eyes filled with something heavy, something complex. We stood there motionless until he finally spoke. His voice was soft but steady. "Mommy," said, taking a deep breath, "sometimes I feel like, I don't know, like you look at me differently, like something has changed." His words struck me hard. Part of wanted to comfort him, but a third part knew we couldn't cross this line. I swallowed, trying to keep my voice steady. "Sebastian, you're my son," I whispered, linked to the words like a leaf line. Even though something inside me felt like it was breaking. He looked down for a moment, then back up at me, his gaze unwavering. "I know," he said quietly, "but sometimes there are things I feel that I can't shake, no matter how hard I try, and just saying it out loud feels strange." I could hear the weight of his struggle, the tension in his voice, as though he were speaking just as much to himself as he was to me. I wanted to reach out to tell him everything will be all right, to hold him like I used to. You, I knew we couldn't go back. I had to protect him from this, from both of us. So I met his gaze, my tone firm but control. "Sebastian," I said, "we can't be anything else. You know that, don't you?" He nodded slowly, a sad, understanding smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah," he said softly, "I do. It's just there to control how you feel sometimes." The silence that followed felt like a living thing enveloping us, leaving its mark with everything we had said and of everything we hadn't. I knew this moment would stay with us. Some boundaries had to be respected, no matter what our hearts felt. As the night deepened and the silence wrapped around us, I realized that some things are best left as quiet memories. When I finally went to bed, a rush of excitement stirred within me, and I couldn't shake it. I lay down, trying to close my eyes, but my mind was racing. Sebastian's gaze, the way he stood so close, the warmth he exuded, it all replayed in my head. My heart was pounding, and I couldn't quite understand what I was feeling. As a mother, it shouldn't feel this way, but each moment I thought of him, it became harder to suppress these feelings. Was it love, just a mother affection, or was there something more? I didn't want to admit it, honestly. I was fronted by how much I was questioning myself. My mind was in turmoil. I knew I needed to push these feelings aside and return to that clear, simple love I was familiar with, but alone in the silence of the night these tangled emotions kept creeping. Abby didn't know how I would feel in them running. I had to find the strength to stay firm, to maintain things as they shall be. But a part of me wondered, what if I just let myself feel? Would that be so wrong?